For the second time in less than a month, a state has ruled that former President Donald Trump was in violation of Section 3 of the 14th Amendment because of his actions on January 6th, and therefore ineligible to run for President of the United States. Maine's Secretary of State, Shenna Bellows, a Democrat, ruling that Trump should be removed from the state's ballot. In her decision, she writes, "The weight of the evidence makes clear that Mr. Trump was aware of the tinder laid by his multi-month effort to delegitimize a Democratic election and then chose to light a match." The ruling by Bellows is similar to the decision made by Colorado's Supreme Court that also declared Trump ineligible. And while both rulings are unprecedented, former President Trump's name will remain on the ballot for now while the court process plays out and appeals are made. But Trump's culpability related to January 6th is something the U.S. Supreme Court will likely still have to deal with. Trump's campaign called the ruling a partisan attack. "We are witnessing in real time the attempted theft of an election and the disenfranchisement of the American voter," said Trump campaign spokesman Stephen Chung. An attack Bellows rejected.
"My obligations to the Constitution and rule of law come before any other consideration. No other factors could weigh on that decision."
Challenges like these have popped up across the country, and most have been denied, including in Arizona, Minnesota, and most recently Michigan. Hours after the Maine decision, the Secretary of State in California announced that the former president would remain on the ballot in that state after facing calls to remove him. Meanwhile, Trump's GOP opponents rushing to his defense.
The idea that one bureaucrat in an executive position can simply unilaterally disqualify someone from office, that turns on its head every notion of constitutional due process that this country's always abided by for over 200 years.
And the Maine and Colorado primaries are being held on Super Tuesday, which is March 5th, and that may not leave enough time for ballots to be printed in time for the appeals process to run its course. Laura?
Ryan Nobles, thank you so much. So, Peter, we do have to acknowledge how unusual this is to have two states kicking the presidential frontrunner for the Republican Party off the ballot. That's never happened before, right? At the same time, though, the state laws do allow for it, and there's never been an insurrection, an attempted coup before of the presidential seat. And so they would say that's unusual.
So fundamentally, this is about who gets to make the determination whether the 14th Amendment should be applied here. But ultimately, this is not about the primary ballot. This is going to be determined and could impact the general election ballot if Donald Trump's name would be there.
And that's why the Supreme Court is going to have to weigh in. They're not going to allow this patchwork of rulings all over the country to stand. And the real issue is what happens in November.
We're going to be watching.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on our streaming channel, Today All Day. To watch, head to today.com/allday or click the link right here.